Welcome to the Scarfey Talks Premier League podcast. In this episode, then, we'll be previewing Game Week 28 in the Premier League. There's some big ones in there. The title race is on, the battle for top four, top six, and beyond. And also big as well at the bottom. And lots of teams potentially could get sucked into the battle, but we know who to watch out for. We're thinking of West Ham. We're thinking of, not in the Forest, thinking of Tottenham. All those results matters. And it's interesting because, they've all got big games this weekend. And to join me then, I've got a Bournemouth fan on, a Fulham fan, an Arsenal fan, and all for different reasons. You may disagree, but I think they've all still got quite a bit to play for. Let's introduce them one by one. Ollie, firstly, our Bournemouth fan for tonight, regular on here. Thank you so much for coming on once again. How you been doing? All right?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I was just looking at the fixtures, and there's a load of there that I don't know how to predict. Actually, I'm kind of looking at mentally planning what I'm going to predict them as, but we'll get into that. I'm lovely to come back on.
Lovely to have you. Thank you very, very much. And Fulham fan Barney, welcome back. Of course, a good friend of mine. We've collaborated on football and with some autism work as well. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all you've done with me. It's been a little while though since you've been on here. So very good to have you back.
It's been a long time, mate. It's been about 7-8 months, but delighted to be back. Delighted to be talking about football, and hopefully you don't want to hear this. Hopefully a Fulham win at the weekend, but good to see you all. And yeah, let's get cracking.
I'd disagree with the last bit, but no, it should be a good one nonetheless. Barney, thank you very, very much. And Matt, Arsenal fan, thank you for coming on. I mean, a lot happier, I'm sure, after the last game. I mean, I didn't see it, so God knows what happened. But how have you been doing?
Yeah, good. I've just been, waiting for this Chelsea match to come because, I'm going to the match, but I just want to batter Chelsea. I want to batter them a third time this season. That's all I want.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what does happen. But thank you nonetheless. You've got a good panel. Arsenal, of course, in a title race. Bournemouth and Fulham still hopes of European football, I'm sure. Both at some points this season have been looking down, particularly Bournemouth. But right now, both clubs in an okay place, at least. I'd say both on the up, particularly Bournemouth, to be honest with you. But we'll get into it. We've got a Friday night game. It's been a little while since that's been the case. I think we're looking at about 4 weeks since that's happened. And a Saturday lunchtime. I mean, goodness knows you have to go back, I think, to the start of the season since we had that, where they try and build suspense. But Wolves and Aston Villa is the first game, a derby, of course. Ollie, kick us off. I mean, we get to score predictions in a minute and go around, get all your thoughts, all three of you, then all three of you score prediction, if that makes sense. But how do you feel this one will go? We're talking off air. I think a lot of us agreed it's tough to predict. I mean, do you fancy Aston Villa, or do you think it could be a potential obstacle for Unai Emery's side?
I do fancy Villa, I think, on this one. We've spoken a lot about Wolves recently and how much they've improved in the last month or two, and they have, to be fair. But Aston Villa are a really, really good team, and that can't be underestimated. There's a reason why they're third. Obviously, they've had their moments during the season where they have crumbled at times, and consistency is not always on their side. But it's hard to say that they won't win this game. I think they'll have a little bit too much for Wolves. But as I say, over the last few weeks, especially, Wolves have improved even more than they have done, and they've proven themselves as a bit of an underdog, and they've made a couple of signings that have made them a bit more well drilled, have a bit more quality in the side. But as I say, I think Villa's strike force now, with Abraham finally getting his first goal, I think that will power them a bit more. We're seeing a few more goals in their side now, which has been a struggle for them at points. But I do fancy Villa.
Thank you very much. Typically, of course, in terms of the league, in a lot better place. But Barney, would you agree with me that Villa haven't quite been the same since losing Kamara, Tielemans, McGinn? They look struggling to create, and we see often, like when they play Leeds, it takes pretty much 90 minutes to break a team down. Sometimes they don't at all. Like we saw Brentford, they kept a clean sheet at Villa, and that's just something you couldn't imagine really before. So yeah, give us your thoughts on that, and also about this game.
No, I fully agree. I mean, Villa have always been a side that I've hugely admired, and obviously their previous result, going into this game, they'll be happier with a point compared to Leeds because they came back into it. And I think it's a funny one because I've looked at Villa and how they progressed since they come up from the Championship. And when they came up, they spent all that money. And when they came up and they were challenging for Europe, and then obviously their manager came in and they started performing right up there. And they've always been my kind of team to qualify for Europe, if that makes sense. I always, expect them to be up there. So yeah, they've disappointed me slightly how they've just been a bit inconsistent and not really flowing, if that makes sense. And the goals haven't been sort of coming as freely as they were before.
It's absolutely true. You're spot on to say that. Thank you very, very much, Barney. I agree with that. Matt, anything to add about this game? I mean, I think Wolves will give themselves a chance because they picked up more points in 2026. I'd personally argue, I mean, you will know when they played you. It'll be funny. They have a lot more fight about them. Quality, maybe not, but definitely fight. Do you think they will go into this game believing just a little bit?
I think they'll obviously, have that belief because they're at home, and their resurgence, over the past couple of weeks has been quite incredible considering where they are, how many points that they've got, and they're basically going down. And I think that what they're doing right now is they're playing without the pressure of being in a relegation battle because they know their fate. So I think teams that play Wolves, they're not going to have it easy. They're really not going to have it easy, especially at the Molineux Stadium. But with Aston Villa, with the quality that they have, I think they'll do what we should have done, and they will dispatch them. Won't be easy, but I think that they will win.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. Let's get on to score predictions then. Just your score prediction, and if you have any last comment, of course, to add as well, please do. Ollie, I'll start with you. Your score prediction for this game?
Yeah, I was also just on another point. I was looking at their midfield actually when you were just mentioning it, and obviously they should have an Arna fit, but it's good that they have Douglas Luiz back actually in the side. I haven't watched too much of him since he returned to Villa. I know obviously he was at Forest early in the season, but I thought that's quite good to have him back in the side, and obviously he'll know what he's doing. So I think that will be good once he gets going. And I think that will level out their midfield, and I think that going on to the score projection, I do think Villa will, in the end up cruising it. I think they'll win 2-0. I don't think Wolves will get a look in, but I think they'll get a few chances as they have done every match because they seem to be getting shots off a lot more, but they just don't seem to be scoring enough, and I think that'll be their problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Ollie. Barney, can I get your score prediction?
Yeah, just a quick more comment, final one. It was just to say, basically, I think Wolves will be more than happy with the points they've, accumulated, having been so down in the dumps. I think they'll just be wanting to get Derby County's record by now, beat it. But in terms of scoring, they just, as you say, mate, they have a lot of shots, but they just don't put them away. And I only see a Villa win, so I'm going for 2-1 to Villa.
2-1 to Aston Villa. Thank you very much. And Matt, lastly, score prediction?
I'm going to go with a 3-1 Aston Villa.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Villa, then favoured to win by the majority of you. Bournemouth then and Sunderland. Ollie, of course, as a Bournemouth fan, I'll kick it off with you. Do you fancy your chances? Sunderland have, it always feels harsh they've fallen off a cliff because of how they've been before that. But just because of how good they've been compared to where they are now, they have fallen off a cliff. So does that give you confidence going into the game, particularly, being at home as well?
Fun fact here, we have the longest unbeaten streak in the league right now, in the Premier League. If anyone didn't know that, that is a fact. And that suggests where we are right now. Obviously, between that, there's a lot of draws, which is fine. I think we have to take that, and that will happen. But it's good to see us back in good form again, and especially going back to a home game, which we haven't obviously played at home in 2 games, because last 2 have been away games. And I think that's where we perform best, and I think that's where we play the attacking football that we haven't seen at West Ham and Everton, which was a bit more smash and grab, or at least attempted to. And I think Sunderland they really struggle away from home, and we've got to take that as trying to take that advantage and try and score as many goals as we can. Like, I don't think their defense is very consistent enough, especially away from home. And I think that's where we need to use our strike force that is very, very powerful, to get as many goals as we can in. Try and get one in early, I think, because Sunderland can be threatening once they get going, whether that be home or away. So we do need to, do what we can to make sure we can try and be in control within the first half an hour. But I do fancy our chances personally. I think we'll find it difficult. I think Granit Xhaka is back now from injury, which I was gutted to hear about because he is a vital part of their midfield. So I think we'll struggle to handle that because he does run that midfield, and he is obviously the captain as well. So that doesn't help our cause. There'll be a lot more organised under him in the midfield. I assume he'll be starting. So I think all in all, I do see a positive result coming from our end. Either way, I think I'd be happy with a point. Because I've seen how Sunderland play, and they are very, very good. But I would want us to win with the form we're in and the form they're in, personally.
I think it's one of those games that you definitely can win, if I'm honest. Ollie, thank you very much. Interested, you want to come back in a minute and get your score prediction. Matt, on this game, how do you view it? Bournemouth and Sunderland. I mean, again, talk about Sunderland a little bit and what you made of them in 2026. I mean, they just seem to have lost a little bit about them.
Sunderland in 2026, I think a lot of it comes down to them not having Granit Xhaka. Like, I've maintained that when the season ends, Xhaka is top 3 signings of the season because of the impact he's had at a club like Sunderland, where they're not notoriously known to having, world-class talent, world-class players, or, just having, a very, very decent squad. But Xhaka has transmitted his leadership across the whole team, and when he plays, the whole team plays incredibly. And I go back to when we played them, and we drew 2-2. They were incredible. Physically, they literally were better than us, and I've not seen that for years. But in this game, if Xhaka's back and he starts, I think you could see a Sunderland win. But if he's on the bench, I could see a draw maybe.
Matt, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Barney, can I get your thoughts?
Yep, I agree with there. If Xhaka is back, I always fancy him to sort of put on a performance. Sunderland impressed me a lot this season, even though we did beat them, and they're really, really good at home. They've always been one of the sides that have stood out for me, and then they've got really good players, and they press well, and they're always good for a goal or two. It's a tricky one. You always say never bat the early kickoff, but yeah, it's. Do you want my score prediction now? Sorry, Harry.
Yeah, Joe, give your score prediction now, and we'll go round. Give it now. It's fun.
2-1 Bournemouth.
2-1 Bournemouth. Okay, that's a good way to kick us off. The score predictions, Barney. Thank you, Matt.
Look, I'm a Xhaka fan, right? And I'm gonna back Sunderland to win 2-1.
Oh, just because you used to play for Arsenal, right? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
No, you're right about him. You're right. He's a good player, and they've absolutely missed him. I think we could all be in agreement about that. But I love that, Matt. Thank you very much. Ollie, come on, you got to back the cherries, right?
Well, with Granit Xhaka potentially starting, I want to surprise that man and go 2-0 up early on, so they have to chase. That's all I want. I think us getting in early, shocking them, I don't think they have a way back, and I'm going to say 2-1. We go 2-0 up. They maybe get a goal back. We have to sit it out and win the game. Happy with that. Done.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Let's move on then to the next game, Liverpool and West Ham. Barney, can I start with you this time? I mean, interesting game this. Liverpool, challenging for top four. Still not been the season they would have hoped or expected. West Ham really fighting for their lives. They're playing well, but not necessarily getting the wins. The draws they're getting, but not the wins. So yeah, give us your thoughts on this one. Big one.
Oh, it's a big one, and I'm particularly keen on West Ham because I want to see how Adama Traore has adapted. And there's a few mixed views there. I've got a few West Ham fans at work, and they're saying they're not too convinced in him, but saying, give him time. He's a good runner. I mean, I know his end product hasn't been brilliant of late, and it's well documented, but I still think he'd be a good fit for West Ham. They've really impressed me, Harry. West Ham. They've shown battle and grit, and they've always got a result in them. Liverpool, I mean, the previous game against Forest, I just going back to that quickly, I don't even know how they, Forest didn't get something from that game. I thought Liverpool quite, lucky in spells. But to be a top team, you have to grind out results. And I think that's what Liverpool do well, along with some of the top teams. So it's one of those, I think you got the likes of, Mo Salah, will he get a goal? Got all these kind of players on Liverpool's books who are prone to a good game here or there, but they're all guilty of inconsistency, in my opinion. Not the kind of players that you can trust 90 to 100% of the time to put on a performance. But I think it'll be an entertaining game for sure.
Good one. Should be a good one. Barney, thank you very, very much. Matt, give us your thoughts on this one then.
I'm actually really looking forward to this game because Liverpool have got a good win over Nottingham Forest. Look, I don't think they deserved it, but that's for another day. West Ham, although it's at Anfield isn't the Anfield we know it is. It's been quite quiet this season, and teams have been getting results against them. And I think this is a game where West Ham are going to get something. And do you want me to give my score prediction now?
Save it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you, Matt, very, very much. In a minute, I'll come back to you first. Ollie, Can I get your thoughts on this one at Anfield? Liverpool and West Ham Anfield, not the place of the past, as these guys have just both said.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one. I can't believe it's on a 3 p.m. kickoff. That is absolutely abysmal, that, because it's going to be a great game, and I just don't know which way it's going to go. Personally, I think because Liverpool won their last game in quite a dramatic fashion where they didn't really deserve it, I think that's a huge mentality boost for them because they've just happened to win a game, and when you win that kind of game, it is massive for them. It'll do wonders for all those players. And obviously West Ham are good as well, and they stick together. And I think at the moment there's a lot of highs in both of these teams where obviously during the season they've had their lows. So it's a difficult one to predict, but I think personally I have a score in mind of what this is going to be. But it probably won't end up being right because there's so many factors between both of the teams that I just can't decide which one will be right.
It's a tough one. It's really a tough one. Matt, go on then. I know you wanted to give the score prediction.
I'm going to go 2-2.
Okay, that's what I said in my prediction video I've done this morning, 2-2. I agree with that. Thank you very much. Ollie?
I just think Liverpool will be too much for West Ham, and I think it'll be a bit of a blip for West Ham. I'll say 3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool. Okay. It's going to be a tough one for West Ham. They could regret, couldn't they, not winning games that they've had in the past, including against you guys, Bournemouth, potentially. Barney, score prediction.
I think West Ham will give a good account of themselves, but I think Liverpool will pull it over the line and win 2-1.
Okay, going 2-1. That makes sense. Thank you to everyone. On to the next one then, Newcastle and Everton. Barney, I'm going to start with you this time. It is at St James's Park. Everton are a funny side, good most of the time, probably still in a European fight, but so often they still have it in them to drop points, let's just say. And talk about funny sides, well, you've got Newcastle who look better though, in the last few weeks. How do you see this one going?
I mean, Everton's previous result against Manchester United, they put up a good battle, but they've been very inconsistent for me this season. Everton, I've watched them recently. Obviously, they beat us. They had their moments, but we gifted them that win. And they've had their moments too where they've won games, and I thought, oh yeah, they're good. They've got a few good standout players. Jordan Pickford always puts in worldies against us. He always turns into prime Buffon. But you just wonder with this game, Newcastle also are not particularly firing. I've not been hugely impressed with them at times. They've sort of been a bit stop-start. But Everton, I think personally, are one of those kind of teams that can sort of battle. They can just turn up, turn up the performance and just deliver a shot result. Well, it might not be a shot result, but deliver a good performance and get the job done on the day. I think they're more than capable of getting a result against anyone they play.
It's true. It's true. Can't argue with that. Thank you very much. Matt, give your thoughts then on this game. Can you hear us, Matt?
Sorry, I forgot I was muted.
It's all right.
With Everton, they did put up a good fight against Man United, and I think they'll take the fight to Newcastle because Everton, when they go away from home, they're not great, but they do put up a good fight. It's going to be a close game. I think we're going to see Newcastle have a lot of the ball because Everton, historically just aren't really a ball possession based team. They don't really have players that can retain the ball and have technical players. Other than Indai and Jack Grealish, who is unfortunately injured. I see this game being high scoring personally.
Thank you very much. Again, we'll save that score prediction for just a second. Ollie, what do you reckon then about this one? I mean, it will attract the attention of you guys. I think both these clubs will be wanting European football, and both these clubs in and around Bournemouth, within a reachable amount. How do you see it going?
Yeah, it's both the teams are high flying at the moment, in terms of table position, and I think I do fancy Everton in these away games more than home games because they seem to be where the points are getting picked up, and I think they're going to be looking to try and snatch a bit of a win. I think, as Matt says, I think they don't want the possession, whereas Newcastle do. They like their possession. They like being in control of games, and I think that is exactly what Everton want, and I think they will take that to their advantage and be able to work with the ball when they got it. And I think it's also quite tough to predict because it could go either way. Newcastle have obvious qualities that we've seen, and we've seen it in midweek once again with their goal scoring form, and I think that might threaten Everton. But Everton are quite good defensively. They always have been, to be fair. So it is difficult because we're looking at two very different teams here. But I do see Everton knowing how to work out Newcastle, even if it's an away game. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like.
Interesting indeed. Ollie, kick us off then with this score prediction.
I think it's going to be Newcastle 0, Everton 1. I think Everton are just going to sneak a cheeky goal, and Newcastle are just going to fail to score on this one somehow. But I think Everton will just get one, shut the game out, get the 3 points, and they'll be absolutely chuffed with that.
It will be absolutely. I'll be really glad if your prediction is right, Ollie. Thank you, Matt. Come on then. What we saying? Score prediction.
I think it's going to be 3-2 Everton.
Oh, interesting. I didn't see this coming. Okay, Barney.
I actually in agreement in terms of who I think is going to win. I've seen Everton what they can do when they score and then shut up ship. So I am going for a 2-1 Everton win.
Okay, thank you. Everton are better, much better as well away. Funny enough, people forget this now, and I mean, I'm probably part of it as well. But you look at Everton in the first 2 or 3 months, polar opposite. Couldn't get a result on the road, really good at home. It's literally completely flipped on its head. That's a prime example of polar opposites. Burnley and Brentford then. Ollie, Burnley run out of time, really running out of time. They're getting a couple of results here and there, beat Palace, for example, draw last time out. They've got something to be encouraged by, a draw against Chelsea, and they could have even won it at the end. Do you think they have to win this game? Because ultimately they will know now it's going to get into single digits incredibly soon with the games amount, we're running left and the gap's not really getting too much smaller because Burnley are picking up points, but so are West Ham and so are Leeds. So they're not really coming down. They have to win, don't they?
Yeah, it's coming to that point where no matter who they play, I think they need to start winning games, or even drawing games and getting points on the board. They need to start winning games. I think that's very clear. It'll be interesting to see how they go about it, because Brentford are very good, as we've seen, and they are very good with scoring as well. And Burnley in general aren't good enough in terms of quality in their team. But they have to start winning games, or it's going to be over very early and very soon. I think these efforts to get some of these points on the board, with obviously the win at Palace and the draw against Chelsea, it's all a bit too late, really. I think, looking at the table, as you say, the teams above them are winning and are getting more points. West Ham are getting points. Leeds are getting points. Obviously, Forest are getting points now. I don't think at at this point. I think they're more playing a bit like Wolves now, because they have to just try and get what they can to make the fight a bit more interesting, really, because they are quite low down now. And it'll be interesting to see how they set up against Brentford's obviously attack, and most importantly, how they manage to score past them as well. Burnley haven't been known to score that many goals this season under Parker. They haven't really gotten many chances. They've had to be very clinical, in fact. So they've got to work out how they're going to use that clinicalness to get past Brentford's defence and score goals, and most importantly, defend against them and their attack. Obviously, Atara is quite a threatening winger, and obviously they've got their forwards Sharda and Thiago, etc., who are going to be looking to get more goals in.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much for kicking us off there. Good stuff. Barney, what do you reckon with this one? Brentford will need to respond, but Burnley are running out of time. So I'd say both teams, there's reason to really want this win, particularly the home side at Turf Moor. Don't give your score prediction, but I want to get you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Keith Andrews for Brentford has been seriously impressive for me. Since he's come in, he's got Brentford rather, playing some really good stuff. They're sort of right up there. I didn't expect them to be this high, to be honest, but they're above us. They're challenging. They had a few iffy results recently, but they're scoring goals and they've got a good team ethic. And in terms of this game, Scott Parker, in my personal opinion, I just don't think he's a Premier League manager, unfortunately. A lovely bloke, but I just don't think he has the skill set to take a team from the Championship and change his style. Being a Fulham fan, I've seen this, and keep a team up there, unfortunately. Burnley has been one of these kind of teams that are not really adapted, and I've seen it with my own team. I saw it with Bournemouth when he was there, and you think a manager would sort of learn from, these kind of setbacks, if you like, and try and improve a team. But Burnley have got the odd goal here. They got the draw against Chelsea, didn't they? That was a good point, but it's not enough. It's not enough, Harry. I just don't see them getting enough points, to be honest, and certainly not enough wins even to sort of remotely sort of escape that drop.
Okay. Matt, I don't think there's too much to add to this. So if you want to, please do, but also your score prediction.
Look, I think Brentford have had, a horror result last weekend against Brighton. A result I didn't see coming at all. They had a really good result, a really good performance against Arsenal, and I thought that they would build on that. Literally went the opposite. But they've got players that can score loads of goals. Thiago, that main source of striker, and I think when he's firing, he scores goals. And against Burnley, I think Thiago's going to cook. Let's say that.
It's going to cook. It's going to cook. Good stuff, Matt. Thank you. Barney, score prediction?
I agree. He probably will cook, and I'd have to sort of back the away side here. I just don't see Burnley getting anything from this, so I'm going to go for a 3-2 Brentford win.
3-2 Brentford win. Okay, that'd be heartbreak for Burnley. Barney, thank you. Ollie?
Yeah, I don't think Brentford's quality is going to be exactly matched by Burnley's quality. I think Brentford are just too superior of a side. And I just don't think, I think as Barney says, really, I don't think Parker's cut out for Premier League football with his stubbornness and his attitude, really. And I just think they won't be able to set up how Brentford play. And I think they'll end up losing 2-0. To Brentford.
You know what? Just quickly on that, right? You got to find it absolutely absurd how Vincent Kompany got a Bayern Munich job with playing, well, with literally managing Burnley, but his style of play was what Bayern wanted, even though his results was absolutely poor and pathetic because he got them relegated back down. He got a Bayern Munich job, and I just think with relegation, well, not relegation managers, but coaches that come up from the Championship, they should just play the football that they want and that is attractive, even though they'll get battered every week because it literally lands you a top job. You know, I don't get it, but with Scott Parker, I don't rate this guy as a manager. I mean, I didn't rate him as a player. I don't rate him as a manager at all. That's what, twice he's now come up to the Premier League, and he looks like he's going back down twice.
Well, he went to Club Brugge after he left Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And he got absolute pelters from their fans. He got sacked within like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know how to manage abroad. His tactics do not work outside the English system.
Yeah, he's an awful manager in my opinion.
There's no plan B apart from the way he plays. He's so stubborn. He does not like anyone saying anything about football. It's horrible.
It's quite passive.
Awful to watch. It's boring. I could not stand it. I can't believe I went to so many games watching Bournemouth in the Championship season. Even though we finished second, we were so boring. It was honestly an eyesore. I couldn't watch it. It was so boring. Oh my goodness.
Harry, I don't think I did say the score, but I am going for 3-1 Brentford.
3-1 Brentford. Okay, thank you very much. Leeds and City. Matt, I'll kick it off with you. The reason I kick it off with you because you'll be watching this, right? Of course, I say this every time, but it matters now. You know, this is really where
he thinks I'll be watching it. He thinks I'll be watching. I'm watching Britain's Got Talent, mate.
Oh,
screw that! Nah.
I watched that show, and I think Britain's got no talent. Whereas you watch this game, there's a lot of talent on the pitch.
With Leeds, right?
With
Leeds, I've actually really liking Leeds this season, because
just you want them to win.
Well, no, like again, when they when Fark switched tactics, he's just got results and results and results. You know, apart from the odd game or two, but I don't think they're going to have enough to sustain Man City. I think it's going to be a 2-1 Man City. I don't think it's going to be a battering, but I just think Man City's quality will prevail.
Man City's quality will prevail. Okay, that's what an Arsenal fan says, so you have to believe it. Matt, thank you very much. Barney, give us your thoughts on this one, because Matt is right. Leeds have been very good, and they've really turned a corner under Daniel Farke. And you know what? Leeds went into those tough games inside the relegation zone, low on confidence, poor performances, poor results, and evidence would tell you they were going to get worse, playing bigger and better teams. They completely went against the grain and won the majority of those games against the top six clubs. So fair play to them, home and away, that is, particularly at home, but also away. How do you view their chances in this game? Because they just seem together, right? And in a relegation battle, you need to be together. Tottenham are not together, for example. Forest have not been together with their manager changes. Leeds are together as one.
Well, I'll just briefly sidetrack to something that's relevant to me, when you're in a relegation fight, you need battle, you need grit, you need belief, you need teamwork, you need players who are not prima donnas who are going to get on the field and just take one for the team, play the dark arts, do all those kinds of things. And I love Leeds. I love the way they play. I love the way that Daniel's got them. He changed the system. And I thought they were down a few weeks ago. I thought there's no hope. But they've turned it around. They're currently 15th. They're just pulling out the points here and there. And they're getting, picking up points. And Daniel Farkas is doing a really good job, I think. I think it's one of those kind of jobs. It's a pressure job. He's managing a big club. Leeds spent a lot of money coming up from the Championship. They'll want Premier League football. And with this, I won't give my score prediction. Don't worry. Man City, they're a different kettle of fish, aren't they? I mean, we talk about them so much. They just have the ability, don't they, Harry, just to sort of grind out wins and just see out results. We know this. I saw us when we played them. We scored 4 and we still lost, and that's the beauty of them. And they have got quality players all over the pitch. You've got Haaland, you've got Semenyo, always good for goals.
Always good for goals, and they've been a lot better defensively, haven't they, Ollie, since Mark Gay's come into the club?
Yeah, no, they've looked better since the January transfer window. I think they've plugged in a few leaky holes with obviously their injuries seeping in, and also just pushing them over line with a bit more quality. And I think they've needed that to obviously catch up against Arsenal, who are very good. And it's going to be an interesting one because Leeds are difficult to play against, and as you said about them playing the top 6 clubs, they have done well against them. Leeds have, and I think Man City are going to see that and have to approach the game differently to how they usually approach certain games, and realise that Leeds are serious against some of these big clubs. And I think, to be fair, the table is a bit of a lie with Leeds because of their previous form earlier on in the Premier League. Because looking at the form at the start of the season, they were quite poor, and suddenly they turned it all around. And I think they're playing like a proper mid-table club, not fighting for relegation kind of club. And I think they're going to put Man City. They're going to put Man City to it. I do favour Man City in this game. I think I do see them pressuring Leeds quite well, pushing them about, getting a lot of chances. But I do fancy Leeds to, get their nose in, try and force some saves off the keeper, and defend quite well as well. I think they have a quite tight defence, and they're well organised. I think that's what Farker's done, signing the players he wants to sign. Organising the defence and the midfield as well. They have quite good quality in the midfield, and I think that's going to be the key for them. It's just how they go about it, I think.
Well, I think what you've just done there is you just described what Tottenham fans thought Thomas Frank was going to be, because everyone thought that he was going to be exactly what you've described Daniel Farke has done at Leeds.
Yeah, it's interesting because
it's true. That's true.
Frank is an organised manager, and I've seen that with Brentford over the years.
Yeah.
When Bournemouth went down, obviously our rivals in promotion happened to be Brentford that season, who ended up going up via the playoffs against us actually in the semi-finals. And the thing that Frank did, and he beat us twice actually in the Championship. We didn't win against him apart from in the playoffs, in one of the legs. And I thought Frank was so organised that their side was really, really good. Like for a team that only managed to get playoffs, they were so organised. They know how to organise their side. And when he went to Tottenham, I still think this. When Frank went to Tottenham, and the way they played and the way all the players were all over the place was so shocking to me. I remember that game back in August when we beat. Actually, I talked to you before the game, didn't I, Harry?
You did.
And we were saying about it. And I was watching the game thinking, what is going on with Tottenham? You didn't actually have a shot until like the 40th minute. And I thought, this isn't this isn't Frank, because the Frank with Brentford was completely different.
Yeah, and you were the first one to beat us as well, because we started off all right. We lost to
You
PSG,
did.
but we went toe to toe with, in my opinion, the best team in the world at the time. Not now, but at the time. And then, beat Burnley at home, customary in a way. Still done the job 3-0. And then beat City at the Etihad, and played really well there. So it was the perfect start in so many ways. And then that defeat against you, it wasn't just that we lost 1-0, first defeat at home, and blah blah blah. We just hit awful in that game, as you said there, and from then. Just went massively
It makes you
downhill.
think, doesn't it? It really makes you
It
think.
does.
Like, obviously, I'm not a Spurs fan personally, but it does make you think what went wrong, not just from Frank's perspective or the player's perspective, because there's a lot more to that, isn't it? But it's not worth going into, because I think there's so many things you can say.
I would just briefly say, like, that second half against Man City, and it's not an excuse because the whole point of it is January window. But there was one point, and a lot of it was self-destruct as well through our own choice. And I know a couple of suspensions for Romero, for example. So it's not completely all unlucky kind of thing. But we were down to at one point 11 senior players in that second half against City, and there was a whole bench full of kids, right? And again, that's not an excuse, but I just look at the board and go, okay, and I understand you didn't know this was coming, but we just signed Conor Gallagher, right? Everyone knows that we need to break the wage bill at Tottenham, and you're paying Gallagher 200 grand a week, more than Romero, more than Van der Ven, nearly more than them both put together. That's absolutely insane. Whatever you think of Conor Gallagher, right? Someone that really, when everyone's fit, in my view, shouldn't be in the team. He doesn't really offer that much. He's an okay player. I liked him in the past, but this is clearly a player that you can really notice has not been in the Premier League for some time. He started slow, if I'm honest with you, not the player of old at all. So to spend that money is crazy. To still our top scorer 3 years in a row and not replaced. But listen, Spurs fans are reactionary. And the reason now it is concerning is we're now going to go into March. And if we don't win on Sunday, it'll be in March, right? And that would mean no Premier League wins in 2 whole months in January and February, and 3.5 whole months without a home win. And that is just, it's really bad, right? Any team, right? Anybody, Bournemouth, Fulham, Arsenal, anyone, Tottenham, that's just not okay. Whatever team you are, even Wolves, right, have picked up 7 points in 2026. For context, I think Tottenham are at 2, might be at 3 now. There's literally not a lot at all to get context. Tottenham are the worst side on paper in the Premier League, and I think the second worst in the whole of English football, including all 12 tiers, to give an example of just how bad Tottenham are playing, right? And goal difference as well is the worst out of any side in the 12 divisions, because I checked as well. So there you go. Really, really concerning. Awful. And also, I've got one more stat for you that I remember because I looked yesterday. Tottenham are the 3rd worst out of, again, the whole 12 tiers for the amount of goals scored. So the 3rd least. And the amount of teams in those 12.
That's understandable, though, when you've got that many attacking injuries out, though.
But we're talking like, I don't know who. I mean, going even lower than Atkinson, all these teams,
To be
right?
fair, we're talking about Tottenham Hotspur here.
Yeah. And we even my local clubs, Whittam, Braintree, they've all scored more goals than Tottenham, all conceded less, or have a better goal difference in 2026, or won more games. I know that they're playing different different teams. And then you've got humiliating stats like Macclesfield and Mansfield. They've all won more games against a Premier League side in 2026. So that's really humiliating. But I could go on and on. The stats are not good. Let's just put it that way. For Tudor Ramon game or Frank in 2026. So I will not defend the indefensible. Hey ho. Right, I've completely lost track. Have we started score predictions for this game? If not, we'll start them.
I think we're going on to it.
I think we've done. Oh wait, no, I've done my score prediction.
I think I did mine. Did I do mine? I can't remember.
You did yours.
Yes,
you did. Yeah. You predicted it. Ollie, did you give yours?
2-1 Man City. There we go.
2-1 Man City. There we go. Harry, stop talking. Get back on track. Brentford and we've done that, haven't we? You've done that as well. What's going on? That was what I want. Fulham and Spurs. Yeah, I'm going back in time. Barney, I'll come to you as a Fulham fan. Give us your thoughts in this game. I know that you want to talk about this. It's a big one for Fulham.
Oh, to be honest, I could talk about this all day. We'd be sat here at midnight. I've only really got so much time to talk about this. But look, I've seen Fulham a lot this season, right? I've seen us play some brilliant stuff. But whenever we seem to sort of get in a position of promise and we're sort of, churning out the results, then suddenly, Fulham is just struck. Woohoo! Oh, let's just go and give the opposition team a goal. Never mind, have an own goal. Happy Christmas. But the problem is, for me, yes, on paper we're good. We've got a good team, right? You've got Harry Wilson, you've got Emil Smith-Rowe, we've got Oscar Bob, who looks really, really good. I'm not sure if Kevin will feature in this game because he picked up a little foot injury against Sunderland, so that's a bit worrying. But honestly, we've got quality all over the team, Harry. Marco Silva's doing a great job, in his 5th year now with us. I'm really, really, really pleased with how it's going so far this season. Very happy. I mean, why wouldn't I be? Our record against Spurs is very good. Obviously, I'd love to do the double over Spurs. I've not actually seen that in my life. I've not actually witnessed that, so that would be nice. Sorry. Harry Wilson, goal from the edge of the area would be nice. But we have the quality to, give any team a run for their money. We've shown it against Man City. We showed it against Liverpool. You know what I mean? So that quality is there. It's just about belief application and just doing the basics.
That's so often what football's about. I think you're right. Tell you what, we're going to mix it up now. We're going to give score predictions as we go. Barney, kick us off then with that score.
You know what? I'll keep it short, which is unlike me for Fulham. If Everton, Fulham turn up, we're in trouble, and Spurs might, get something, or even worse. If Sunderland, Fulham turn up, then I can only see one result, and I'm going for a 2-1 Fulham win.
2-1 Fulham win. Thank you very much. Got Matt in the corner there. Go on, we'll have to come to him after his facial expression there. Matt, give us your thoughts and honest score prediction.
It's going to be honest, of course it is. I think Tottenham. Well, from what I can see, I've already seen a video that your manager is doing bleep tests and making sure that they're sprinting. And although that's a good thing, because I do think these Tottenham players need to go back to the basics because they, half of them can't even do that. It does increase the percentage of new injuries happening because you're doing sprint tests literally every 5-10 minutes. Like one of them's going to pull the hamstring. And on that, I think Tottenham are going to come into this not fired up because they've just got battered in a North London derby, but I think they're going to feel a bit of, like we need to get a win here. Otherwise, we're seriously in big trouble. Although they don't care about relegation because they don't have any relegation clauses. But I do feel that there will be a response. But do I think it's going to be enough to beat Fulham at home with the injuries that Tottenham have? I mean, some of the signings that Fulham have made have actually impressed me. Freaking Oscar Bob. I didn't think he, credit to Fulham because they've made that incredible signing, but I didn't think Oscar Bob would. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but stoop down from a Manchester City to a Fulham because I thought he was a talent that Man City were very, very happy with. Maybe that injury that he had last season, changed their mind or something. But he's a sensational player regardless, and I think he's going to do wonders at Fulham. And I think that wonders might start against Tottenham. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Fulham win, and it's going to be an Oscar Bob volley. Even though I don't like Oscar Bob because he's an ex-Man City player.
Of course. And in terms of Tottenham with the relegation battle, West Ham maybe unlikely, not as unlikely in the past because the record's not quite the same for Liverpool at Anfield. But if West Ham win, Tottenham lose, then it's 1 point, one single point Tottenham are from.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening. I don't see them winning at Anfield.
So
I can see a draw.
Tottenham got the easiest fixtures. I think if we're being honest with you, took Spurs off the easiest fixtures are particularly West Ham, but also Forest and Leeds. I think Tottenham got it easier, if I'm honest, which is promising.
You've also got more points than them.
Still hard games in there. And better goal difference. The goal difference is key.
Yeah.
But if I put hand on heart as a Spurs fan, I think we're in this battle with 2 games to go. Very easily in this battle. I think personally it would be like 3 points maybe from safety, 2 to go. I think it'll be that close at the end. Not where it's like, oh my God, goal difference. I don't think we'll slip into the bottom 3, but I think we're just going to be sitting above it by a reach.
When is Romero back, by the way?
Romero is back. So what?
Surely this weekend.
Well, no, it's 4 games that he's out for. 4 games he was out for because because it was a punishment for a second suspension in such a short period of time. And he's been the most suspended player out of anyone in the Premier League since joining Tottenham. So as a result, that's his punishment. So if I work out I'm trying to think when he was sent off now, crikey. So was you guys his first or second one that he missed? I'm trying to
I think it was the
Newcastle
first one he missed.
So that's it. Sent off against United. So Newcastle's his first, Arsenal's his
Okay.
second, and missed Fulham, and then missed Palace as well. So he's back for Liverpool on the 15th of March. There we go. So he missed a whole month.
Wow.
He missed over a month. He's going to miss over a month. Christian Maris. He's out for Fulham and
Crazy, that
Palace.
is.
Big test
It's
coming.
just stupid, isn't it?
I don't think 5-0, Cam.
Stupid.
I don't think 5-0.
You're my new
I
best
don't
friend,
think
Cam.
Fulham
I
have
think
it in them to score that many goals. And I
No,
don't
we're not
think
gonna-
Tottenham have it in them to concede that
Don't
many
jinx
goals.
it. Don't jinx it. We're booking a flight away somewhere. Ollie, I'll come to you. Can I get your thoughts and score prediction? Key to get a move on, as you can imagine.
It's a difficult one because obviously the thing about Fulham is consistency, and they seem to win a few really good games, and then they'll lose one very surprising one. You're a bit like, oh, I didn't really expect that from Fulham. And I think obviously, they had that really good result against Sunderland, which was, that was a massive result for them. Played really, really well. But to be honest, I do fancy them against Tottenham. Really, I think they will go out at Tottenham, and obviously with Tottenham's new manager, they haven't really gelled yet, and obviously there's a lot of things going on with Spurs at the moment and in the background, and obviously there's a lot of pressure on the manager to get things right straight away, and that is massive for him, and this is another test for him, to be honest. It's a big test for him, and the pressure's on for him to get that result compared to last weekend, really. So he needs to hit the ground running now. And I think it's vital for him in this kind of fight they're in. But for Fulham, I think they want to get up the table a bit more and prove that they are the side that they are with a bit more consistency. And I do fancy them with the players they have and the quality they have. And I think Fulham will win 2-0.
All right, all predicting Fulham wins.
No
then,
offense, but
none taken at all.
Sorry.
I agree with you, actually.
Harry, can I
I
just
agree.
ask you a question, right?
Oh,
When
God,
was
don't
the
get me
last
started, go on.
time? When was the last time we've had a conversation on stream about Tottenham winning a game? Because every week it feels like we're just battering Tottenham at this point.
Well, I've aged a lot since then. Let me just start by saying that, right? Do you know what? Let's actually have a look. Let's have a look properly, because it is hugely concerning, right? And let's
I like
not
how
win the game
Matt's
in
just asking
2026.
this with this smug face. I see his little
Bro,
I
I'm
smug
know.
loving
face
this.
pop
I'm
up in the
absolutely
corner.
loving this. Mate,
It's all right.
my team, right, potentially could win the quadruple, and Tottenham could potentially get relegated. That'd be the best year of my life.
So,
I can't believe
right,
it.
let me just have a look here. So Tottenham's last win was in the Champions League against Frankfurt, 2-0 in January. But in the league, let's go back and prove my point in the league.
Okay.
We have to go back to the 28th of December against Palace. Then if you want to go back before that,
God,
you
I
have to
was
go
in
back quite a way in
Spain
the
back
league as
then.
well, to the 6th of December. So, and our last home win was the 6th of December. I mean, just like what? And that's in like the league as well. So it's not very good. The form for Tottenham is just not good. Not good at all. But no, I'm predicting we finish 17th and we'll be okay. But a lot of Spurs fans on the Spurs podcast earlier, Willsy is very confident that we go down. Very, very confident indeed. And he's usually fairly positive. So that's not good at all. This is it from Cam. This is the comment. Cam, Spurs fan in the chat, regular on the podcast. And this is true. He said, I made my debut on my Spurs show that day, that after Brentford on New Year's Eve. Since then, Tottenham have not won a domestic match in England. That is very true, and I have no regrets at all in giving you your debut. But and it was a great, game. But you've literally, since you've come on, we've not won. And it's the same, to be fair, with Louis, West Ham fan for a long while, but now they can't stop picking up points. So that's one that's really gone. Maybe you brought bad luck. I don't know. I will not speculate. I think Spurs, could get all the good luck and will somehow throw it away. Hey ho. Matt, I can have the last laugh. When was your last European trophy? But I won't even answer that. Next game, Manchester United
1994.
and all right, okay. Interesting. Man United and Crystal Palace, and 2 games to go. I will let you talk now, Matt. I promise you're not in some kind of isolation, but this should be a good game. Crystal Palace winning just last time out against Wolves in stoppage time. United flying under Carrick, yet to lose. Can you see that record staying beyond this game?
I don't know what Michael Carrick's doing, but he's doing the most perfect job he can ever do to keep being the Manchester United manager beyond this season. Because in the same week, he beat Man City on his first game, and then he beat Arsenal in our own backyard. And for any manager to do that, that's fucking impressive. But for him to do that, he's not exactly, a known football manager. That's beyond incredible. And look, if I was Man United, as of right now, I still wouldn't employ him. I would still look for a proper manager, because otherwise you're going to have, an Ollie situation where he'll, develop friends, in the dressing room, and it can all get a bit, toxic if things go sideways. But fair play to Carrick, because he's literally doing, a perfect job. But I think this is where they're going to slip up. I don't think they're going to lose, but I think this is where they're going to slip up. I predicted a 1-1 result.
I can see it's been a 1-1 as well, actually. It's interesting you say that. Ollie, give us your thoughts on score prediction. United and Palace, Old Trafford.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Palace get on, considering their recent results their results have been all right, but their performances have been a bit inconsistent. And obviously, they're still recovering from whatever happened in January, and obviously, the state with the manager and some of the players at the moment, losing Mateta for the foreseeable future. And it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Obviously, away at Man United, which is a tough game at the moment for any side, to be honest, as we've seen at the top of the table. But more importantly, it'll be interesting to see how Carrick gets on, continuing from that good form recently, and at some point it will have to stop. Obviously, he's only a caretaker until the end of the season, so there's not much pressure on him. Obviously, there's some people calling for him to get the permanent job already. I don't think that's the right thing. You have to wait till the end of the season. And as Matt says, I think they'll end up getting someone else in, because you don't want that similar situation of them getting a caretaker in permanently before. And I think they need to look elsewhere for someone a bit more experienced, going on to that. But I think I do fancy Man United for this game again. I think some of the players that haven't delivered earlier on the season, such as Seshko, debatably Cunha, Buemo as well, who have all quite well delivered under Carrick, I think will do it again. And to be honest with you, as I say, at some point their form will have to dip a little bit, but at the moment I still don't see it, and I do fancy them winning. I think they'll win 3-1 in the end.
Do you think win 3-1? Just off topic, by the way, I've just realised that Fulham and Spurs on the 1st of March. The Spurs have not won a league game in January or February, so just add that in. I didn't know that, so
Matt will love
not happy
that
with that. Matt will love that stat, exactly. But it's a big one to end with then, because Arsenal and Chelsea is a big one. It's a real big one. And who do you think I'm going to start with? Of course, I'm going to start with Matt. Matt, give us your thoughts then and score prediction. You said that you want to, humiliate, let's just say, Chelsea. Can you actually do it? Can you deliver on the pitch? Arsenal got a lot of this off the pitch. Can you do it on the pitch?
I don't think we're going to humiliate them. I think we're going to win, but I don't think we're going to humiliate them. I think, I don't know. I just don't see Liam Rossignol letting us humiliate them. I should say. I think he's going to play very different to how he's ever played in the Premier League, against us at the weekend, because what he did in the second leg was odd, weird. He stuck 5 at the back, didn't have any wingers, had Liam Delap on the wing, who's not a winger, when it was already 1-0 down on aggregate. And look, we should have more of the ball because we're at home and we've got the more technical players, in my opinion. And after the North London derby win, which I don't think people actually understand how massive that was, because we've never battered Spurs in their back garden ever. Like, we've never ever done that. So that was a sort of like new high for us, I guess. But we should take a lot of confidence from that game into the Chelsea game, with Chelsea drawing against Burnley, and also Wesley Fofana getting sent off, which means he doesn't play, and also Esteval potentially not playing because he's not been in training since, till present. And I think Reece James might be in training, but they've got a couple of injury concerns. We've got our long-term injury concerns, which are beyond this season, so it's kind of irrelevant to really mention them. Apart from Max Dowman, I guess, but he's 16, so he's not really going to have much of an effect in this game. But I'm confident, and I want the fans at the stadium to be confident, because there's no reason why we shouldn't. The gap could potentially again be 2 points, which means we need to, be loud for the players. We need to back the players. The players need to play for us. The players need to play for the badge as well. And pretty much a performance against Tottenham, and I think we win comfortably against Chelsea. I'm going to go... You know what? I'm going to go, another 3-1 win, because we seem to really get a lot of 3-1 wins against Chelsea, especially at home, which is really odd. So I'm going to keep that trend, and I'm going to say 3-1.
3-1. Matt, thank you. Barney, what do you reckon for this game then? London derby to end game week 28.
I agree with everything that was just said. I've got a lot of time for Liam Rosenior, but at times I think he's still kind of picking and choosing his side. I don't think it's quite a settled team yet. I'm sure they've got quality all over the pitch. You've got obviously Uhurela, you've got D-Lap, you've got Pedro. So there's goals in that. But I've really really like Arsenal lately. I think they're top draw. They're scoring goals every game. They're a joy to watch. They play some brilliant football, and I can only really see at this stage a home win. I think it'll be an entertaining game. One of my actually games of the weekend. It's one I'll definitely be sort of keeping a big eye out for on match of the day. I always like an Arsenal-Chelsea game, but I think Arsenal are at that kind of stage now where they can see the summit, and it's just up to them now to sort of see themselves over the line, and I think they will this year.
Okay, thank you very much. Interesting to hear that from another fan. Thank you. Ollie, to end this podcast, give us your thoughts on score prediction, then Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea be looking to respond. Burnley was quite poor, the performance and result, and it could have been even worse. So Chelsea have to put it right, because United look better than them at the moment. And at the moment, if you said to me, United or Chelsea, of course I know more than one of them probably will get Champions League football, but you'd have to back United at this moment.
Yeah, looking at the performance that, as Matt touched on a little bit, of how Rosenior played against Arsenal in the League Cup, and I personally think he overthought that game, and he overthought the performance against Arsenal, and it was quite interesting for him to take that kind of defensive stance against a team that he probably should be attacking a bit more. And I think he'll learn that. Obviously, he's still only a young manager, and there's so much for him to learn, to adapt against some of these teams, and especially against the top teams, and Mikel Arteta's side, who obviously they have so many different systems they can play in one system, and that's what makes Arsenal a very tough side to beat at the end of the day. And I think that will make it a tough game, because obviously Rosenior has played Arsenal twice now in the League Cup, and he'll find a new way to play Arsenal and try and tackle them. And obviously it's a different field of game when it's in the Premier League as well. And we're seeing Chelsea want to get into that top four and want to beat United, and that is their competition at the moment. It is them getting into top four as a priority, because there's no guarantees of Champions League at any point, and that I don't believe that's been confirmed yet. So it'll be interesting to see how Rosina deals with Arteta, and vice versa, really, because I think it's going to be tough for Arsenal completely, and I don't think Arsenal are going to batter them. I do think they'll win. I think it'll be a 1-0 Arsenal. I think it'll be a really, really tight game. I think we might be expecting a few more goals, but I don't think there will be, because I think in the end it'll be two really tight teams trying to fight for a win, and I think Arsenal will just edge it for me.
Okay, thank you. That wraps us up there nicely for this episode of the podcast. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in on the brand new channel. Views are low to start with, if I'm honest with you. That could be expected with a new channel. We hope more of you will join us as the weeks progress. Get into the all-important part of the season, so we need your support, as do all the Premier League teams that you support. Ollie, firstly, thank you very much for coming on. Where can people follow you on the socials? Because you post a lot of content, all of high quality. Please do plug it.
Yeah, so I'm on Simply AFCB on X at the moment. I post all sorts of Bournemouth content, maybe a bit too much, if anything, and also make my graphics and post them on there as I'm a graphic design student. But yeah, please follow everyone else. Absolute pleasure being on again. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. The pleasure's mine. Thank you, Ollie, very, very much. Barney, good to have you back on. It really is. Where can people follow you on the socials?
It's lovely to be back, and it's lovely to talk to all you great guys. You can find me on X, formerly Twitter, at Ambrose Barnaby. Give me a follow. I always talk about Fulham or just crazy things. And TikTok, Barney FFC. So drop me a follow and we can chat football. And thank you again, Harry.
No worries. Thank you. Definitely be back on soon. We've got a lot planned, haven't we? Yeah, for Fulham. So I say a lot. We've still got little bits planned. Not as much maybe as the past, because I'm not at the game, but we still will be doing opposition preview, etc. So yeah, still a little bit to come. Barney, thank you very, very much. And Matt, thank you for coming on. Where can people follow you on social media? You're on X, if I'm not mistaken.
Pleasure to have me. I've enjoyed it. As always, when my team wins. When we lose, it's not a great time, but I'd rather laugh than cry, personally. But my Twitter handle is here in the blue text. It is AFC Matex with 2 X's on X. Twitter.
Great stuff, Matt. Thank you very, very much. And that wraps up nicely, okay? Thank you to everyone that's watched. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. But no, honestly, really do appreciate, as always, the support.